What's up, AAU family? You are now listening to Meeting at the Rim with Del Potter.
Welcome to another episode of Meeting at the Rim, broadcasting from our AAU National Headquarters here in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. I'm your host, Del Potter. The University of North Carolina men's basketball program was giving a number one ranking in the Associated Press preseason top 25 for a record ninth time. The Tar Heels have an extensive list of current and former student athletes that have played AAU basketball, becoming standout recruits at AAU national tournaments. Before the team gets deeper into the season with eyes on the national title, my next guest has led the North Carolina Tar Heels to 2 national championships, seeking a third. Please welcome to the show Hall of Fame head coach Roy Williams. Hey, Coach Williams, how you doing?
Good.
Thank you for coming on the show. I know your calendar is full preparing for this season. This really means a lot to our listeners out there.
All right. Well, I appreciate you asking, and I'll try to do a good job.
Coach, I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm gonna paint a picture. It's summertime, and you're at an AAU tournament. What are some of the qualities you look for in an athlete that indicates they will be a successful student athlete at the University of North Carolina and beyond?
Well, the first thing I look for is how he's working with his team. I like guys who are on teams who win, and so that's something that's extremely important to me. Is he the kind of player that will be a great teammate? That's something I enjoy seeing. From the basketball skills, there's no question if a young man can shoot the basketball and score, that really helps. But if he understands the game, if he has a tremendous feel for the game, if he has a tremendous savvy for the game, it's easily apparent that guy will do the right things and not do the knucklehead plays at the end of the game. So those are some of the things that I look for.
And I know it's great to work on individual skill development, but you also need the actual game action to measure those skills in competition. How does our AAU tournaments prepare a future Tar Heel for the elite competition they will see in the ACC?
Well, generally speaking, when I go to the AAU tournaments, they're the national tournaments, and so you're playing for the biggest prize, and that's what we try to play for here at the University of North Carolina. So when I see those kids trying to win championships and trying to be the best team, the only team left standing, that's something that's extremely important to me, and I do believe that prepares them for what you're going to want to do later on.
And with all that's going on when the season starts, I know it's a very demanding schedule for you and your staff and student athletes. How do you keep your team focused if and when adversity hits?
You know, there's going to be adversity with every team. I don't care who you are, how talented you are, there's going to be some adversity because there are so many talented players that mentally and physically you have to be at the top of your game to avoid the adversity completely, but there's still going to be some. And I think seeing how our kids are going to handle that as you try to win championships is extremely important to me. And again, when you're playing in a national tournament like the season-ending tournaments in the summer, the AAU teams play, I think you get a good idea of how a youngster's going to operate under the stress and the pressures of those situations.
Coach, for the youth coaches out there, when you have your team in place and you monitor their development, you know their demeanor, is it almost a intuition that you feel when you're in a huddle or at halftime in the locker room that you look them in the eye and know it's time to increase the energy level to get these guys going, to pull out this win?
Well, I think so. You can challenge kids, and the more you work with them and the more you work for them, the more you can challenge them. And I think it is something that, for us, we play 2 games a week, and every now and then we'll play 3 games a week. And in some of the national tournaments that the AAU teams play in, they may have to play 2 or 3 games in a day. And so, again, I'll go back to that winning does make a difference. And I think that's one of the things that the coaches need to challenge them about, and not just blow off one game or the mistakes that you made at the end of one game. You've got to remember those and make sure that you learn from them and then go on to the next game, as opposed to saying, okay, guys, we messed that up, but we're going to be on court 5 in 2 hours, because it just relieves them of the responsibility of making their mistakes. And so that's the way that you can try to challenge them to make sure they don't make those mistakes over again.
Now, Coach Williams, you were an assistant under legendary Coach Dean Smith. Beyond the obvious talent of Michael Jordan, who you were able to recruit and coach during his time at UNC, what do you believe truly separates great players from the rest?
I think one quality that all the great ones have is an ability to focus, ability to concentrate on the task at hand, to be able to block the problems out, to be led by your dreams, not pushed by your problems, is one way that I try to say it. But I think with Michael, I think he had greater focus than anybody that's ever played the game, and he had that tremendous desire to win that a lot of people had, but I don't think anybody's ever had that tremendous desire to win more than Michael did.
What advice can you give kids currently that may not be an All-American or All-State athlete, but has goals of earning an athletic scholarship?
I think if the kid really deeply wants that, he's got to put in the work. You've got to invest the time. I tell youngsters all the time that if you take a day off, somebody else is not taking a day off, and that may be the guy that you're competing with for that starting spot on your high school team or the scholarship or whatever. And so if you want it badly enough, you can't take and relax and say, oh, it's okay. You've got to work at it each and every day, either physically or mentally or both.
And the Carolina family tree is strong. You currently have 15 players in the NBA that you have coached at UNC, all having played in our AAU tournaments. How valuable is it to the program to have those guys give back and mentor your current student athletes?
I think it is invaluable. I think that our players come back and teach the current players so much, talk to them so many times about things that are going on in the outside world of professional basketball, and I think that's just extremely important for our team.
And Coach, lastly, you're watching our AAU tournaments. You're there. You see potential Tar Heels that you want to recruit. When you're in their living room talking to their parents or guardians, what are some of the key points you discuss with them to relay the message of Carolina and university as a whole?
Well, that we're trying to compete on the highest level possible. If you just want to go and to a school and shoot every time you get it, then we're not the place for you. If you're so interested in your own individual dreams and goals, we're not the school for you. But if you're willing to share, not just the basketball, but if you're willing to share your dreams and make it part of a team dream and still keep your own individual dreams, then we're one of those places for you. But we are about trying to win championships, and in order to do that, there have to be some sacrifices made. And I've always said that the teams that really do well, their players will do well. And so it's getting the proper kind of kid that will buy into understanding the team aspect of it is really important too.
Coach Williams, thank you so much for coming on the show. This really means a lot for our listeners, hearing a Hall of Fame coach talk about AAU basketball and what he looks for at AAU national tournaments. Please follow Carolina basketball on Twitter at UNC_basketball. Follow AAU basketball at AAU_basketball, and myself, Del Potter, at Del P AAU. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.